What's up, sports fans? Your host here, Ethan and Chad Larson. Today we're going to be talking about the national championship game that happened last night, Villanova, Michigan. And then we're also going to have a debate at the end. Stay tuned for that.
What's going on, guys? So, getting right into it, Villanova, Michigan last night. Not for all the marbles, men's college basketball.
Wasn't for all the marbles.
Yeah, well, Villanova came out and stole the marbles early. Villanova won 79-62. Of course, for those of you that watched, you know they were led by redshirt sophomore guard Dante DiVincenzo. He was named Final Four Most Outstanding Player.
You're joking.
I promise you.
He's on his Tyus Jones.
DiVincenzo led the way for Villanova. He had 31 points on 10 of 15 shooting, made 5 3-pointers, and he did all that while coming off the bench.
Don't forget his most important stat. He led the game in assists.
Yeah, with
3.
I can't believe we were looking over it. The whole game, they combined 13 assists for both
teams. Yeah.
So that was pretty crazy.
Obviously, Villanova was in control for basically the whole game. Even when they were down for a little bit of time in the first half, they still kind of looked like they were in control.
Yeah.
You know, of course, the best player to have ever played the game, Jalen Brunson, had a great game. 4 of 13 from the field.
Yeah, the National Player of the Year. They were talking it up big. Jalen Brunson, first National Player of the Year since Anthony Davis to also win a national title. Throw that out the window.
Dude was 9-2. Dude had 9 points and 2 assists in the whole game. He's supposed to be the best point guard in the nation.
I just didn't feel like it was. I mean, personally, I don't think he should have won the award anyway. Devontae Graham, even though I hate you, I feel like you should have been National Player of the Year. So.
Mo Bamba is what you meant to say.
Okay, so a little bit of homerism, but whatever. It's all good.
All right, Charles Barkley.
So talking about the game for Villanova, as usual, they did their thing. 10 of 27 from 3. Started off real slow though. Only made 2 in the first half. They did way more than that because Dante hit like a whole bunch of them. Ended up with 10 3-pointers for the game. 15 of 20 from the line. Shot 47% from the field. So their offense just overpowered Michigan, who had been coming in, had really been one of the top defensive teams in the country, and especially throughout the tournament, the 14-game winning streak that they had currently been on. So, tell me something. Why did Villanova get it done, and especially in blowout fashion?
Well, it's always easy to get a big lead when you're raining threes and your opponents are shooting 13% from beyond the arc. So obviously it was hard for Michigan to get into their game. As our game, basketball has been getting increasingly more reliant on the 3-ball. For them to again only hit 2 the entire game. I mean, wasn't it 2?
Michigan, they were 3 for 23.
Yeah, 3 for 23, sorry.
Yeah.
13% the whole game. I mean, the only real 2 players that really had any bearing on the game for Michigan was obviously Muhammad Ali, Abdur Rakim. He had 23, I believe, and then Mo Wagner, who had, 13 and 8 or something like that?
Yeah, he ended the game with 16 and 7, but that's kind of what's the word? I don't know. That's kind of misleading. He had 11 points in the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, and then was quiet throughout the rest. So Michigan, or Villanova, I should say, did a good job of kind of locking him down throughout the game.
My boy Amari Spillman, he went crazy. I mean, ever since he had that block dunk against West Virginia in the Sweet 16, I've been riding his bandwagon ever since then. I mean, that was the craziest play I've ever seen in a tournament game.
Yeah, I mean, Amari Spillman, he had a good game. Really didn't show up on the stat sheet. Only had 8 points, but controlled the paint for Villanova and had 11 rebounds. So, I mean, he did his job out there. I think between the front line of him and then Eric Paschal, they're really the reasons that held Wagner to, who was Michigan's star player. He only took 11 field goal attempts, made 6 of them, but I feel like one of the big reasons why it was hard for him to get shots off against that defense from Paschal and Spellman.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Villanova, I believe, came into the game with most people think that they were going to be able to do it. So, Jay Wright and his Armani suits were able to pull it out of the bag once again. 2 and 3 years, which I didn't really realize, but I'm sure you like this one a little bit more than the last one.
Yeah, that first one they won. I'm still not over it 3 years or 2 years later, but hey, it's all good.
The best part about that game was that what's his face? Kendall Marshall Lewis just hit the craziest shot in the history.
Marcus Page.
Was it Marcus Page?
Yeah,
he was the one. Marshall was the one that came before him. Yeah. Marcus Page literally just hit the craziest shot in the history of NCAA championship history, and then and then just came down. Jenkins hit the next shot.
Carolina fans, y'all know my pain right now. Just hearing them talk about it.
Yes, sir, knew.
But continuing on with Villanova, what do you feel like is next for them? They got a lot of guys who can come back or declare. I feel like most people think Mikal Bridges, their junior forward, is most likely going to declare for the draft. He's rated by most as probably a top 10 pick, or your prototypical 3-and-D wing at the next level. Jalen Brunson, they looked at late first round pick, maybe early second. And obviously with his hot performance in the Final Four and throughout the tournament, we have to mention Dante DiVincenzo and his draft status. Go ahead and talk about those.
Well, since I don't like Dante DiVincenzo, I'm kind of hoping he comes out so that he goes in the second round and ends up ultimately not making the roster, whoever gets drafted by. But yeah, me and Chad were talking about this earlier today off camera. We were saying that me personally, my opinion is, unless you're guaranteed, like literally every single analyst, every GM, whatever, thinks you're going to go in the lottery, I don't really see the point in coming out, because because in my personal opinion, I think you're just going to end up being a role player, and you're not really going to develop the way you would in college. If you stay, then you're going to play you're going to play like 30, 35 minutes a game, every game. You're going to get to develop against players your own age, which is going to help you get that confidence to keep getting better and better, because they're only going to be relying on you, rather than going into the league and then being like a 7th and 8th man and only getting like 15 to 20 minutes a game, and then having no confidence, getting your confidence knocked every day in practice because you're just not the best guy anymore, and that's not going to really help you develop. So personally, I think all these guys should stay, but I could definitely see, especially Jalen Brunson having just won the award for National Player of the Year, I could definitely see him coming out. Dante DiVincenzo, I don't think he will.
Yeah, for me, I feel like the one who is most likely to come out definitely got to be Mikal Bridges. He's been top 10, or he's been in most people's top 10 throughout the season. Like I said, he's a junior, 6'7" wing. Really your prototypical small forward in today's NBA. So I feel like he's definitely going to be able to come out. He played 36 minutes last night, 19 points, 7 to 12 from the field, knocked down 3 threes. Kind of has an unconventional shot, but it goes in, and he hunts that three-point line, especially in transitions. And then for Brunson, I say he probably comes out. I mean, I kind of take the opposite opinion as Ethan. I think if you're a first round, especially, then you should for sure come out, especially if you're a point guard, because after your junior year as a point guard, you've pretty much shown, especially a player like Brunson, you've shown everything that you can in 3 years. You've been a starter all 3 years, so his senior year, the only thing he would do would maybe just get a year older, honestly, and then risk him getting injured. So I think them two should come out. DiVincenzo, Marius Turner, Dante DiVincenzo will not be a lottery pick. Okay, so Ned, you either. He's not going to be a lottery pick. So slow that talk down. I think he's a decent, maybe late first, early second, but if I were him, I'd come back to school. He'll be able to get a lot more shots with Bridges and Brunson most likely leaving. So I say he comes back. And what about their biggest NBA prospect, who was going to be the coach, your Armani suit guy, Jay Wright? What do you think? I hear he's going to get a lot of NBA job offers this offseason. What do you think would be a good or a smart plan for him?
I don't know. Whenever I watched Villanova, it never really looked like they were the better coach team. It always just seemed like they were the better team. So I don't know. As a coach, he doesn't really jump out to me as someone that's like, I mean, their defense is really smothering, or their offense was just so beautiful that I couldn't take my eyes off it or anything like that. It just seemed like most of the games I watched, they just had the better players. So, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I'm always kind of hesitant, because obviously there are coaches that have great programs and bring in great talent, but still, like your Roy Williams, your Mike Krzyzewski's, your Bill Self, stuff like that, they're able to bring in great talent and then use it to great effect. I still think Jay Wright, I just think that he had a great talent, but just doesn't really play in the system that can be suitable for the NBA where everyone is of that level, of that caliber of player he brings in. So I personally think that he'll stay, and he should stay, but who knows?
Okay, and we would be remiss without giving salute to Michigan. You know, second place, first runner-up, all that good stuff. Mo Wagner, their junior big man, 6'11", stretch 4, stretch 5.
My guy.
I was gonna say your favorite player, probably.
Heck no.
What do you
Obama.
think? What do you think Mo Wagner is gonna do? He's a junior, so what do you think his decision is gonna be this offseason?
Well, I think most foreign players like to come in. If they come to America, a lot of them like to come in and then use those years of college just to make it to the pros rather than actually get that education. Not saying that foreign people don't. I'm not sitting here trying to be racist or anything, but I mean, you're not going to move to another country just to go to school if you're that good of a basketball player. I mean, I think he's going to use that and try and get into the league next year.
Without a doubt, I agree. Wagner, projected late first-round pick. I could definitely see his game translating well to the NBA, especially nowadays with the modern big, the stretch 5. He showed he was able to rebound too, so...
Vincenzo really hit 5 threes. Anyway, so any other thoughts about the since college basketball season now to an end? Any thoughts? Actually, they just came out. ESPN just came out with their next season top 10. Anything to say about that, real quick?
Yeah, so we looked at that.
Nevada number 10.
Yeah, we looked at that real quick before we jumped on air. They got Kansas number 1. For those of you that don't know, Duke 2. I think Villanova 3.
But they had Duke as the most likely as far as the odds makers to win the national to win the national title, 5-1 odds or something crazy like that.
Yeah, so I just feel like I was gonna say Duke right here, 5-1 favorites in Vegas to win next year. I just don't feel like
there's any real basis.
I was gonna say personally, I feel like it's too early to tell right now. You don't know there are a lot of guys who still have big decisions to be made.
I mean, not even that. Kind of like what I was saying. You could have all the talent in the world, but if you can't use it the right way, then I mean, if you're Jay Wright, it really won't matter. But some coaches can't get away with that.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll stay tuned. We'll be keeping an eye on the recruiting trail and what guys are leaving and coming back. Now, moving on to our topic. This is one where we were kind of talking about this.
We really weren't planning it before we started shooting, but we just started talking about it, and then we thought, you know what, we might as well talk about it on the show. So, greatest foreign-born player of all time. Now, I already know what half of you are going to say. Kobe was born in Italy. I'm not talking about Kobe, okay? He's clearly American.
And then
talking about foreign players.
And another third of you are going to say, Tim Duncan was born in the Virgin Islands. We're not counting him because he played for Team USA during the Olympics and stuff like that. So we are not counting Tim Duncan, no Kobe. For any of you crazy people who would think Kyrie Irving, even though he was born in Australia, no. We narrowed down the list to 2 players.
Right now, actually, comment down below who's your greatest of all time player, and then
foreign player.
Yeah, foreign. Oh yeah, greatest foreign player. I thought that was implied, but
yeah.
Greatest foreign player of all time, and then we'll say our 2 options. So our 2 options for me, I said, because I was the one that really started this debate. I said it was Dirk Nowitzki, obviously from Germany, and then Chad.
I went with Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, the center who was born in Nigeria, I believe. So I know it was some country in Africa. Pretty sure it was Nigeria.
You don't have it up? I mean,
let me see. Yeah, born in Lagos, Nigeria. 7 foot tall. Lagos, Nigeria. Sorry. 7 foot tall center. Went to the University of Houston for a couple years, and came out. Yeah, and then was the first pick in the draft way back in 19.
Yeah, why don't you give your nice pitch on why you think Olajuwon should be considered the best of all time?
Okay, so start off his career. He was drafted in 1984, number 1 by the Houston Rockets. Came out in his very first season, made the All-Rookie team. Did not win Rookie of the Year. Lost. Came in second the Rookie of the Year to some guy named Michael Jordan. So whoever that.
Pretty soft Rookie of the Year, but
Right, exactly. So whoever that might be. Rookie year, 20 points a game, 12 rebounds, 3 blocks a game, a steal, and then just continued that trend all the way down his career. His career highs in points, 28 points a game in the 94-95 season, career high rebounds, 14 and 89-90. I think the key with him is really just a sustained career of longevity. I mean, career averages of 22 points a game, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 3 blocks. Career field goal percentage of 51%. So he was really a really dominant big man. Did win 2 NBA titles back in his day. Sorry, went back to back actually, and was a Finals MVP both years. Was a 12-time All-Star. Okay, was 12 times All NBA, either first, second, or third team. 9 times All Defense. 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. Was the league MVP in 93-94. So,
and rode Kenny Smith's coattails to
come on, man.
one of his titles. I forgot which one it was. One of them, Kenny Smith literally went dumb in Game 7, hit like 6 threes or 8 threes or something like that.
Yeah. Anyway. So that's my case for Hakeem Olajuwon. I want to hear what you have to say for Dirk.
Now, Dirk, the basis of my whole argument, like I said, we were having off camera, was he took a team where it's really just him and Jason Kidd, and he took them to the finals and beat the greatest player since Michael Jordan in the finals, and the greatest team probably since, well, before the Warriors now. Yeah. The greatest team probably since, those Lakers teams of the early 2000s.
Oh, probably.
So in 2011, obviously Dirk. It was like who was their starting 5? It was Dirk, Jason Kidd,
Tyson Chandler.
I think Peja Stojakovic, and Caron Butler or something.
Yeah,
starting
or Deshaun Stevenson.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Caron Butler's better than Deshaun Stevenson. Caron Butler isn't even good. So that was really the basis of my argument. And also, some other stuff about Dirk. 13-time All-Star, which I didn't even really realize. 4-time All-NBA first team, 5 times second team, then 3-time All-NBA third team. He's also in the 50-40-90 for those of you who don't know, 50% field goal percentage, 40% from 3, and then 90% from the line. And then other stuff like he's had tons of awards in Germany. And also he got a bronze in the World Championships 2002 in the United States. So, that's always something cool. And also, obviously he didn't come into the league like Hakeem did, and coming out really establishing himself early. He only averaged 8 and 3 his first year, which isn't very good at all. But ever since that second season, he's been averaging 17 and above. He averaged 20 for 10, 12 straight years. Obviously a great shooter. That fadeaway that he has as a 7-footer, he can already barely block his shot. Then with that fadeaway, he's always been such a good shooter. But he's also been able to do it on the boards as well. Averaging between probably 8 and 10 boards a game, as he's been oscillating between a power forward and a center. But like I said, just the stuff that he was able to do with inferior talent, especially when Rick Carlisle was there, getting bad teams to the playoffs and advancing them all the way to the finals, obviously in 2011, and getting them to beat LeBron and Bosh and D Wade and Mario Chalmers. So some big stuff like that. Obviously Hakeem Olajuwon, great player, probably one of the great top 20, 30 greatest players of all time, but
top 10, 15.
10,
15, got to. He was...
Dirk's a top 5 power forward of all time.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. But Hakeem, probably the greatest defensive player of all time. Listen to some of these steal and block numbers. 89-90, 5 blocks a game.
The thing I will give Hakeem, wasn't he the one that had the quadruple double?
Yes, last player to have a quadruple double was him and David Robinson.
Was it points, blocks, steals, and rebounds?
Yes. No. Points, rebounds, assists, and blocks.
Yeah, that's so tough.
And then one game he was a couple steals away from a quadruple double. So, one of the most versatile all-around players in the game, or in the history of the game, was able to see the floor well. One of the greatest, to me, the greatest defensive big man in the history of the NBA. Just because he was able, he was really the first big man who was able to switch out onto guards and guard. He told a story to Kenny Smith, or Kenny Smith was telling a story one time on TNT, Hakeem would go out, guard the guard, tell Kenny to just hold off for 1 second. Then Hakeem would come back, box out the big man, get the rebound, give Kenny the outlet, and then run down and be able to finish with the slam. Now, anyone that's athletic enough to do something like that, they got my vote for pretty much anything. And I think that's why he's the greatest international player of all time and the greatest defensive player of all time, too, for that matter. That's right, I said it. Greatest defensive player of all time, Hakeem Olajuwon.
Better than JaVale McGee? Boogie Cousins?
Come on, man. Don't talk about Boogie.
Yeah, obviously there are a lot of other good candidates. Any other honorable mentions that you want to put out there?
Yeah, another couple guys.
Steve Nash?
Yeah, Steve Nash, born in Canada. He obviously is a Hall of Famer. Made it this year, I think. Yeah, made it this year. So shout out to Stevie Nash, also a big soccer fan, so we appreciate that. And Patrick Ewing.
Hit Grant Hill and what's the other guy's name? The bald guy that plays for the Wizards. And Marcin Gortat in the back of the head with passes 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
When he played for the Suns. So,
yeah, that's true.
That was always cool.
A wizard. And then, of course, another big man, obviously because they don't have small big men, but another big man who played for, most famously, the New York Knicks, Patrick Ewing, was born in Jamaica. Yeah, I know. He went to Georgetown. He actually lived in Jamaica for a while. So he's recognized as international. Even though he played with the U.S. on the '92 Dream Team, which is another story. But yeah, Patrick Ewing, 2010 Knicks all-time leading scorer, I'm pretty sure. So.
Well, good thing, because the Knicks now have the person that I said today was going to become the greatest European born player of all time.
Chris Porzingis.
Chris Porzingis.
That's what started the argument. We were talking about Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, I said he's going to become the greatest European player of all time, and then I said. Then someone said something about the greatest foreign-born player of all time, and I said Dirk was, and then, because I never really thought, I mean, when you think of foreign-born players, mine normally tends to go to Europe, and then I never really thought about Africa.
But, I mean, when you talk about greatest foreign-born players, you also, I mean, you have to think at the...
Was it Jurgis Ilgauskas? Jan Vesely?
Come on, man, not Jan. We're not talking about him. I thought we promised not to do that. But you got...
You always have that draft day kiss.
You got Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker.
So what you really got to do is really go to the Spurs roster.
Yep.
Boris Diaw.
Yeah, I mean, heck, he was pretty good. You got the black hole, most famously Ronnie Cycli.
Where was he born?
Greece.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What about, speaking of Greek people,
Giannis.
Giannis, yeah.
I think that's who, to me, if he can continue to grow at the rate he's at, grow like as far as his game, don't get any taller. Giannis, you're already too big. I feel like he could challenge Hakeem as probably the greatest international player of all time. So, I mean,
what about my boy Milos? What can he do?
Teodosic, he started off a little too late in the game.
Pablo Prigioni?
He's already retired. I know. It's okay, buddy. Well,
all right, well.
Any more topics you want to hit on before we go ahead and get out of here?
Nothing I can think of, not for today.
All right, well, without anything else on the schedule for today, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share the video, and comment down below first who your greatest international player of all time, and also comment some topics that you want us to talk about on future episodes. And a big apology to our fans. I know we haven't been posting a lot of videos in the past couple days. We promised daily content. We're going to try and get back on it. Promise, we got y'all. See y'all tomorrow.
All right, see ya.